Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this Smackdown review and opinions video. I actually don't have loads to talk about because I think the show was okay. I don't think it was mind-blowing. There was a few little brawls, few little moments. Cody's promo was probably about as good as you could expect, considering there was no John Cena. I really like having the belts in the ring. I thought that was a nice touch. Drew destroying Damian, taking his cross, ripping that off was cool. It was fine. Charlotte, Tiffany, the brawl before was the kind of thing that I think we needed on the show. Like them brawling, but I kind of like them doing things outside of the show as well. And certainly the way they presented it, it felt quite real. I didn't believe it was real. I still don't believe it's real, but I kind of like how they were blurring the lines there. The fact that it wasn't shown on the show definitely had some people questioning as to whether that was real or not. I think the fact Charlotte turned up on the show and attacked Tiffany during the show probably shows people that had a little bit of doubt that it's not real. But you got to think about those casual fans that could still be questioning as to whether this was real or not. So, yeah, I think the build for Tiffany Charlotte, I know has been a car crash, but it has resulted in that match feeling like a bigger deal. I'm certainly a lot more excited about that than I am some of the other matches on the WrestleMania card. The Gauntlet match was pretty good. I didn't enjoy all of it, but I didn't hate it either. I think Bayley and Lyra are worthy winners. I know some would have enjoyed Kayden and Katana instead. I wouldn't have minded Kayden and Katana. I think they're the only real tag team we've got. But yeah, I thought showed off Bayley and Lyra quite well. Showed how gritty they are. Shows how much they've got in the tank. Shows that this is going to be a real battle for Liv and Raquel. Lyra and Bayley, as we said, coming through from being the first team out there, going all the way through the gauntlet. And some good moments against Kayden and Katana. Good moments in there as well against the Secret Harvest at the end. Kind of enjoyed that. Rey Fenix and Berto I thought was okay. Didn't blow my mind. I thought it was okay. Thought the crowd were a little quiet during that bit. It was okay. Crowd were okay. We had a few community members there as well, so shout out to those guys. The show was fine, honestly. It was fine. I think it's another one of those where you might look at it and go, sort of hoping for a little bit more. You know, was that main event good enough? Always good to see Roxanne. Roxanne Tiffany was good. I can go through the match score. So the Gauntlet came out as good 92, which I think is a bit harsh. I think actually it should have been high-end good, maybe even low-end great, considering what a performance that was from the likes of Lyra and Bayley. We opened, obviously, with Randy, and feels like it's going to be Randy solo. The Mickie James line was very interesting. Makes me think Nick Aldis is still an option. But at this point, I'll be surprised if it's not solo. I don't hate that. I don't love that. It doesn't really feel like it's WrestleMania worthy, to be perfectly truthful. I think if we were going to do solo Randy, we needed a much bigger build than obviously what we've got. So for me personally, if I was booking, I would have gone down the mystery opponent road. And I really do like that Jeff Hardy suggestion that was doing the rounds. I think you could have found a few more exciting alternatives. But, you know, it is what it is. This close to WrestleMania, they've pivoted and seemingly pivoted towards solo. But we'll have to wait and see if it does go that way. Gauntlet match we spoke about. Rey Fenix Berto was absolutely fine. You lot said it was great 57. I wasn't that crazy about it. Tiffany against Roxanne, good 96, I think is fair. LA Knight and Randy against Solo and Tama, good 97. I think that's fair as well. Cody promo was good. Drew Damian. I mean, we got talking points. I just don't know that we got anything that was like really that big. I like the Jade Naomi little thing as well, the little video that we did there. I thought that was good. Obviously, we found out who was going to be doing the inductions for the Hall of Fame. We found out Shawn is going to put Triple H in. I did wonder if that might be Stephanie, but it's turned out to be Shawn. And that's fine, obviously. It would have been nice to have had Kamala and everyone on that graphic, but I said my piece on that in Unseen and during the watch-along. And I think that's it, really. I don't really have a great deal to add. I sort of feel like it was a solid show. I sort of feel like there was talking points. I didn't find myself being bored. I felt like the 3 hours went by quite quickly. I thought it was fine. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fine. Was it WrestleMania season? Well, you know, maybe not. But we did get that kind of brawl before SmackDown, didn't we, between Charlotte and Tiffany? So with that added in, I think it adds to the show. So let's get to the comments. I didn't actually see how many comments we received, but let's get to the comments, see what you lot thought. So Brendan, shout out to you. DeBoomer25 said, I'm going to go 7.5. If they had cut out the Cody Crybaby segment, it would have been a 9. All Game 17 said, I thought it was decent. It wasn't anything like absolutely fascinating, but it was definitely passable. Raymond said, Daze, I thought SmackDown tonight was very good. Each match was entertaining to watch. Cody promo was outstanding as well. So I will have to rate SmackDown a 9. It was really good. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Raymond. El Patata said it was a horrible show. Every feud is just brawling. Andrade is doing backstage segments until 2026. It's going to be a long-term story. The women's tag division looked like clowns. Same for Chelsea. Zelina still isn't believable to be champion. Dakota Kai has disappeared. Bayley, Dakota spent 2 months on the same roster, but they still haven't crossed paths. How unfortunate. Carrion against Randy. Randy RKO's Scarlett. Cross crashes out. It's easy to tell. I already forgot why Randy and Solo are fighting. LA Fatu feud, but no promo battle. Good Rey Fenix match, but it's a 1 out of 10 show. Well, I feel like there's a lot to kind of unpack there, to be honest. It's a shame that El Patata kind of feels that way. I feel like there's a lot of points here that aren't really so much about this SmackDown. I feel like they're about the bigger storytelling. So, for example, like Bayley, Dakota, they've been on the roster for 2 months. They've not crossed paths. That's not really about this show. It's more about the kind of bigger picture. Carrion is a Raw superstar, so we could have used him, but I can't say that it's a big surprise we haven't. So instead, we've gone with someone that's on the SmackDown roster. That is obviously Solo. And we're not going to do Solo Jacob at WrestleMania because Jacob's going up against LA Knight. To be honest with you, we've been seeing a few kind of backstage promos from Jacob as he's been heading to the ring. We haven't seen him and LA Knight going back and forth. To be honest, I think, didn't he only win that match, was it last week? So I don't think we've had a great deal of time, actually, to kind of really dig into this feud. I do agree it's a bit flat as a result. We could have done a number 1 contenders match earlier and then actually spent some time building up Jacob. I haven't seen enough of Jacob to know, though, with a promo in his hand, with the mic in his hand in the middle of the ring, I don't know kind of what his promos would be like. I'm thinking very good, judging by how amazing his promos are as he's heading to the ring. So I've got to think when he's in the ring and he's going back and forth with someone, like, that would be very good. I feel like we did see him, though, doing some sort of promos. Wasn't he in there with a couple of other people months ago? I sort of feel like that felt a little bit like a miss. Kind of felt like his aura just got affected a little. I wonder if he was to do a promo, if his aura would be affected a little. I wonder if the truth is his in-ring promos don't quite match the same level as everything else, and so we're trying to kind of not lean into those. I wonder if there's a reason for it. That's the point I'm getting to. I wonder if there's a reason for it. What else have we got? Zelina not believable as champion. Maybe. They're definitely building up to that. I don't mind that being an opponent for Chelsea to face. I'm thinking Chelsea beats Zelina. It's kind of one of those, isn't it? People complain when these people aren't on the shows, but then obviously there's frustration when they're being used. So, like, you know, people are upset that we're not getting, you know, Dakota, but then when we try to use Zelina, then there's people that are a bit frustrated with that as well. So some of it is a bit of like, you can't win, really. Don't know. I get where you're coming from. I get your frustrations. I do think not everything there is to do with this SmackDown. I think that maybe it's part of the wider WrestleMania build frustrations, but I do get those. And you're not alone with those. There's been a lot of people that have got similar feelings about that as well. So Alpatata, very thoughtful. As always. Wrestling Junkie said last week was so good. I had high expectations and was majorly let down. The whole show dragged. And I did notice some sloppy in ring. Who did I notice sloppy in ring from? I think it was Piper. Piper seemed to be a little off. More than usual. It was okay. Not bad, but not good. Has to fight to stay awake. Really? I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like this show was a drag. I sort of felt like I was watching something and then something else was happening, like we were getting an announcement of the Hall of Fame, or then we were moving on to a Cody segment, or it was Drew coming out and that was moving quite quick. A Gauntlet match was quite quick. I mean, the whole match itself took a bit of time, but obviously we had a lot of little matches within that bigger match. And I don't know. I felt like we got through this. I didn't feel that way. But clearly others did. So there we go. Carl said, one of the best recent SmackDowns. But like Raw, it's a mixed bag. Some was great. Some was awful. Rock's appearance and banger was great. Drew was great. Awful. Chucked together last minute team winning the Gauntlet after fighting for a title on Raw. Chelsea non-title match that should be at WrestleMania. So those were the awful things according to Carl. Fraxium is where it's at. Said, I only caught the last hour. I fell asleep before it started. I think the Cody segment was great. Roxanne Tiffany match was good. I think the main event was okay. Overall, the hour I saw, I give a 7.5, said Fraxium is where it's at. Parker, Tiffy Time, said, Daze, hope your day was good. I want to know your thoughts about what happened with Charlotte Tiffany. I think us in Tiffy FC are in shambles after the outside attack. And then after Tiffy's match, I'm going to give the show a 5. To be honest, I don't think much happened. I think the brawl, I think it was all scripted. I think the brawl was meant to happen outside in the car park. I think they're leaning into the blurry nature of this program. So I think that the brawl outside was intended. And then obviously they went with the line, Charlotte's been asked to go home. Of course she didn't. And she attacked after the match in her street clothes, which was a nice touch. Wade Barrett saying, I'm trying to save you from yourself here. Kind of really add into the, this isn't meant to be happening. But, you know, I ain't buying that for a second. I think last week went off the rails. This week was scripted. I think the car park thing and the attack after, I have no doubt whatsoever, was planned in the script. We're heading to WrestleMania, where we'll get the match. And I think what you saw today was a bit more of the kind of build that we would have expected. So, yeah, it seems like it's full steam ahead, to be honest. Full steam ahead. My prediction video actually drops tomorrow, so you'll have to wait till then to know who I think's going to win. But spoiler, I do pick Tiffany, so there we go. I've gone Tiffany because I really think that Charlotte may have shown her teeth in those promo sections because she already knows she's not winning the match at WrestleMania. So she's trying to get as much out of this build as she possibly can, you know? So I'm thinking Tiffany. If Charlotte wins, then I've got to think Tiffany wins a rematch. I really don't see any way, and this might come back to haunt me, Charlotte wins and just moves on. I don't see any way that happens. Even if Charlotte did win at WrestleMania, I would be quietly confident Tiffany gets the belt back at Backlash. I really think Tiffany is the one they're going to look to invest in. I think Charlotte's time on top has kind of not come to an end. She will always find opportunity. But I think we're at the point now where Bianca's come through, Rhea's come through, Liv is coming through, Tiffany's coming through, Lyra's coming through. We're moving forward. And Tiffany's part of us moving forward. And I don't see what's benefited by Charlotte getting the win. Unless Tiffany gets the win back later down the road. So, yeah, I'm thinking Tiffany wins. I can't remember the odds. I think they're very, very close, though. So, yeah, sorry to hear there's mass panic in the Tiffany fan club. Jay Omega said, I'm going to go 759. It was a good SmackDown. Made me excited for next week's show and Cena showing up. The only complaint I have is the Zelina-Chelsea match. Like, WTF is that? Listen, there's a real fan base for Zelina that have really been wanting her to get opportunity. I get tagged in a lot of posts from like Zelina fans and the ZV Army and all that kind of stuff. And I think WWE have seen there's enough support there for her to get an opportunity. I don't know that she wins the title, but I think they've seen enough support for her to get an opportunity. Adam said, Daze, I wasn't the biggest fan of SmackDown tonight. There was no major talking points, and we do need major moments this close to Mania. I think that's very fair. Feuds fell flat. SmackDown is an afterthought. No Punk, no Seth, no Roman, no Cena, and they're all main eventing. It's a shame. I think they said Punk, Roman, Seth might be on Raw. Cena is next week, so yes, this could be a week that we focused on a few other things instead, like Jacob and LA Knight, like Naomi and Jade with that video package, like Drew and Damian, like the Gauntlet match, like Tiffany and Charlotte. I think this was a show that tried to flesh out more of the rest of the card rather than the top end of the card. We still got Cody doing his thing. But yeah, there wasn't really loads in the way, although a really good video package on Punk and Heyman. Got to mention that. That was really good. Las Vegas Matt said, as Sheamus would say, it was a banger. I don't think anyone with a singles title should be in a tag match at Mania, though. And if Randy Orton is facing Solo, it'll be disappointing. Days, the watch along was top notch. 8 out of 10. I'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, buds. Aaron said there was some great stuff on the show, but the 3-hour format is killing the show. I think it's a really good point. I think even WWE Creative have said similar, so you're certainly not alone with that thought. Kiki gives it 2 out of 3. Chris said, hello, Days. Hello, Chris. Nothing to really write home about. I've gone 6.5. Well, I'm on 7. We're not a million miles away. Got a few things out of the show. I enjoyed Naomi's new character work. Like how they lead into the so-called real heat between Charlotte and Tiffy time. Looking forward to this match a lot more than before. Could be a show stealer. Could be. I'd really like there to be a moment where, or a few moments where it really feels like, hang on, are they shooting? I think this build has been that way. So I feel in the match you should lean into that. Little moment where it gets a little rough and people start wondering if it's gone off tracks. I would not mind that, you know. I don't know that I need that match to be super polished. I don't mind that match being a bit rough. Don't mind that match having a few moments where you're trying to figure out if it's gone off the rails. I'm looking forward to that match. Lisa said, hello, Days. It was okay, but nothing to write home about. Well, look at it, both of you. You really do write home, do you, about SmackDowns and Raws? Dear mother. The best part of the show was Damian and Drew segment. Cody did a very passionate promo, which was great. I know you meant passionate. 6.48 is my score. Hashtag George, the legend. Taker 1990 said SmackDown was a 9 for what I actually saw and the commentary on the remaining time of SmackDown after my internet had gone down following that Cody segment. I stand with Charlotte, as I do with all superstars. Their job isn't easy, said Taker 1990. Yeah, big conversation today during the watch-along about when a line gets crossed, you know? I mean, I feel like Tiffany and Charlotte have both at times let themselves down in this build. I think they're human. I think, you know, we all make mistakes. It's, you know, I think Charlotte let herself down first, and we had that conversation as well. And then I think Tiffany kind of followed her down into the pit, to be honest. And hopefully they both got sat down, spoken to, and hopefully they're now both on the same page. But that has added extra spice to this match, and I am really excited for this match, though. Yeah, it's one of those, you know, everyone's got their opinions. Everyone's got a right to express those opinions. And sometimes maybe some people go a little bit, not here in our community, I'm talking outside of our community. Maybe sometimes people go a little bit too far with their criticisms and it turns a bit personal. So, yeah, it was a big conversation today. Brady said, I was very surprised that they had Bayley and Lyra beat all of the teams during that gauntlet. Hopefully after the match, we would see Alexa and Nikki. Alexa will be in Vegas on Saturday for Ryan's DJ session. So she will be there, says Brady. Matthew said SmackDown was good and great storyline between Cody Cena. Love the championships behind Cody. And the women's tag match will be interesting. And I don't see Raquel and Liv losing. 8.5, said Matthew. Jasmine gives it a 6. The American Bully said they buried the whole mid-card division to have a champ in a tag match. What a stupid decision. You think they would go all out for the first women's IC and the United States Championship at WrestleMania. It would be bigger than this, says the American Bully. Uncle Revel said, well, not much to sink our teeth into. It was really subpar, especially this close to Mania. I do agree with that. I'm giving it a 7 because I can find talking points. I didn't feel bored. Show kept my interest. Moved along. Little bits and bobs here and there. No real OMG moments. Probably the biggest OMG moment happened before the show with Tiffany and Charlotte. We did then get a brawl on the show as well, though, and I did like the Wade Barrett moment. And I think this, to me, was a show that had some energy, kept bounced along, and I was engaged. Sadly, it doesn't seem like everyone feels that way, and that's cool. But yeah, for a show this close to Mania, the last non-go-home show, because Raw on Monday is a go-home, it's a go-home Raw. SmackDown is going to be the go-home SmackDown. So this was really our last chance to really do something meaty. Perhaps we'll get a chance on Monday, but I can't really see Cena doing a great deal next week. Might just be a promo. So, don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, subpar, I don't disagree. The Drew Damien segment was the only thing I really enjoyed. And that's saying a lot as to how people were down on this feud. So, Uncle Revel gives it a 5. Muggsy said 7, not much to say. Isaac gives it 7.7. Ryan said, I'm going to give it 7. SmackDown was good this week. WrestleMania is looking great for next weekend. Really excited for Raw Monday. It's a shame the SmackDown tag division don't get a Mania match. Real Wrestling Fan said 5 for me tonight. Just want another reminder of how weak, in my opinion, this build is. Maybe it's just me. I'm a Cody and Cena fan. Maybe that's why I'm not feeling it. I don't know. Triple H has done better closing than building. Anyway, George should be Randy's opponent. Real Wrestling Fan, shout out to you. Chanel said, show of the week. Cody promo was excellent. As a Liv Morgan fan, it was awesome to see her actually out there and not in a 10-second segment backstage. Women's Tag Gauntlet was match of the night. And I think that Nick versus Randy, Chelsea versus Zelina, and the SmackDown tag titles will get added to WrestleMania. Well, apparently the SmackDown tag titles, no. Chelsea, Zelina, no. But Randy versus maybe Nick, maybe Solo. That one is expected to be added. OTC said it was okay, 6 out of 10. Randy segment was good. Tiffany Roxanne match was really good. Cannot wait for Raw. Yeet. Craig gives it a 6. The show felt like an ordinary SmackDown, not a show so close to Mania. I don't really judge it extra harshly because it's this close to WrestleMania, but I do very much hear what people are saying. Q Hicks said, Aleister Black will beat Randy's opponent. Tiffany and Charlotte feud is dead. They're trying too hard, and it's not working. Cody was great. Gauntlet match was highly entertaining. Phoenix isn't getting the same love his brother is getting, and I am sad about that, said Q Hicks. FYI said, I hope all is well, Daze. Mix-ups plagued the Gauntlet match, but I still enjoyed it. And I hope that Lyra becomes a double champ. Phoenix and Berto really had an amazing match. Good main event too. Solid 7. And get Charlotte off my screen, said FYI. John Elite said, love seeing the old titles during Cody's promo. Can't wait for Aleister's return in 2 weeks. Are they splitting Los Garza? Feels that way. Wonder who is Randy's new opponent, Nick Aldis? Is PFC still a thing after Sonya left? They are, yes. It's just no Sonya. Wrestling fan since day one says 6. Jacob needs to win the title at WrestleMania. Wrestling Daze, my favourite YouTuber and a great friend. Good night, Daze. Wrestling fan since day one. Shout out to you, buds. Angie said, started watching way later than I normally do. Hopefully this makes it. It did. I was about to move on and say it didn't, but it did. At first impression, Nick Aldis looks peeved, and I don't blame him, but I don't think Randy meant it. Roller said, I enjoyed the show. Solo being Randy's opponent is deserving, but also disappointing. Solo has done a great job since Mania 40, and he deserves it. However, I would have preferred Rusev, Aleister, or Nick Aldis. Not related to SmackDown. But who do we think Ludwig faces? No one. Ludwig's not on that card. Ludwig's not going to be on that card. There's no rumours of Ludwig having a match. If he was going to be at Mania, I think he would have been in the Intercontinental Intercontinental Fatal 4-Way. I think he would have been in that. So, not happening. Don't see him being at WrestleMania. I think you might see him in the Andre Battle Royal next Friday. So there we go. That was 35 comments we got. We did well to get through all of those. Look at us, eh? Look at us. Right, there we go. I would go over to the poll, but I literally only just put it up because I am actually a disgrace. So yeah, appreciate people sharing their thoughts. Bit of a mixed bag in there. I feel like the general consensus was that it was fine, but not good enough for a show this close to WrestleMania. And I really do hear that. I do hear that. So, yeah, on we go. Let's see what they've got for us next week. But really, the build is pretty much built. That is pretty much it. Next week will be final touches. I'm sure there'll still be some good segments. But really, I think our focus now is WrestleMania and just making sure that that delivers as great a show as it possibly can. So, fingers crossed. Right, I'm going to go away and start working on a few other bits and bobs. Tomorrow, or today, whenever you're watching this, the predictions video goes up on the main channel. Of course, I've got the UFC watch-along, pretty big show, and also we'll have an unseen coming up as well. If I can squeeze some in on this channel over the weekend, I will certainly try and do that. But we're going to have to wait and see. It's a pretty busy weekend with UFC. And on Sunday, I'm going to try and do a toy hunt as well. So that won't go up Sunday because I'll need to edit it and everything. I'm also going to try and watch WrestleMania 9. That's going to be on the WWE Vault. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a pretty crazy weekend. So, but hey, it's WrestleMania and we wouldn't want it any other way. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.